Hey guys, how's it going? Delight! I keep seeing this and it feels like the scene from Jaws, right? Where the shark is eating him. I just had to do that. So, today I'm going to talk to you about how to build better content and how we approach the work of building better content at Facebook. I'm Jonathon Colman. I'm one of many content strategists at Facebook. We are hiring, but we have a team of 30 who do nothing but what I'm about to show you. And you can find me on Twitter at @jcolman, where I just tweeted out a link to these slides, or you can download them now at bit.ly/fixourshit. And I call this the full story. Because today I'm going to get through 96 slides in 20 minutes, but this version has all 145 slides. Sort of the director's cut, if you will. So let's jump in. They said earlier this wasn't going to be like church. It's like church, damn it. So stand up if you are a writer. Anyone here identify as a writer? Self-identify as people who write copy, write words, language professionals? Great, stay standing. And then builders, people who code, engineer, work with systems. Yeah, my brethren. And now designers. Do you create visual experiences, solve problems, make the world a better place? Fantastic. I want you to stand up, because we work best when we self-identify, when we know that the things we do impact others, and when we feel that our work matters. Okay, you can all sit down. But I'm going to bring this back up a little later. I think we work best when we are open and bold. We don't shy away from calling ourselves designers or writers or builders or makers. Everyone here makes something. We're all makers. So, I'm going to be open with you. I am a content strategist. This is what I do at Facebook. And for us, content strategy starts with Christina Halverson's famous words. We plan, she says, for the creation, publication, and governance of useful, usable content. Planning is a key word there. And I love her distinction between useful and usable. Because a lot of us sometimes have one without the other. It has to be both to be strategic. And then I want to tell you something that Sarah Wachter-Betcher says. She says, we don't need more content. We need content that does more for us. And that's the goal of content strategy. Content that does more. We get more value for our organizations. We get more value for people using our products by building great content. So, you might be asking yourselves, hey, wait a minute. Isn't like my content Facebook's content? Does Facebook really have any content? And I would argue that if I'm doing my job well, then that's exactly what you should be thinking. The best content is invisible. So I do want to show you very quickly, though, that Facebook does in fact have content. This is our new privacy checkup. It helps you make sure that you're sharing with only the people you choose, just the right people. This is entirely content that we created. It's not user-generated. This is an interface that helps you choose ads that are more relevant to you so that you're not seeing irrelevant things. You may be using one of our mobile apps, and several of them, like Paper, our internet.org app, even Slingshot has interface content that helps guide you to the experience, helps you use this product. So, I was open about what I do. Let's now be bold. We're going to move on to being bold. I want everyone here to design content as a system, a product, but really as an experience, not as a campaign. Content strategy is not content marketing. Content marketing is a valid pursuit, has great goals, helps build brands, change perceptions, drive traffic, and optimize for conversion. That's fantastic stuff. But that is not what we do as content strategists. We build experiences. So, page views are not your goal as a content strategist. You have a far bigger goal, which is actually your goal. Why it is you're here. Why you exist in the first place, what your organization is here to achieve for the next 100 years. That's what content strategy is all about. So in order to build experiences that can achieve that why, we actually have to first focus on people's most basic needs. Anyone recognize this? Does this look familiar? This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The psychologist Abraham Maslow. He starts with the base layer of physiological needs. So food, warmth, shelter. He moves up to safety. And then we see these needs that drive more at the communities we build, love and belonging. And then there's esteem. And at the top is self-actualization. And if you're like me, and I know I am, that is actually where delight occurs. Because when we take Maslow's hierarchy and apply it to the experiences we build, we can see all of these correlations. But at the top is joy. But we can't achieve that without everything else that comes before that. So, content is an experience. What does it actually mean to build content as an experience? This is the Build, Measure, Learn cycle from Eric Ries's Lean Startup book. And what he has is intermediary products coming out of Build, Measure, and Learn are products, data, and ideas. And Eric Ries says the goal of any fast-moving startup is to get through the cycles as many times as you can, as quickly as possible before your funding runs out. Product design, content as an experience is actually a lot like that. We learn as we go. We get better with feedback. Facebook has a culture of feedback that helps us do that. But here's the thing, and there's just no way of getting around this. You cannot be lean unless you can learn. So this is a model I love from Dr. Chun-Wei Chu at the University of Toronto. And if I just go back a second so you see the original model, he says that single loop learning is this idea where you go back to something you built and then you try to optimize it, try to figure out why it doesn't work, kind of like the lean startup model. But he says in order for organizations to change, in order to delight, in order to achieve their why, the reason they're here, they have to do what he calls double loop learning. And that's where they question their norms, their assumptions, their actual strategies. And if an organization can't really question those and can't adapt, then it's not going to last over the long term. So let's talk about how we actually build these experiences at Facebook. I keep talking about the why, because that's where we start. This is an idea from Simon Sinek. And if you haven't watched his great TED Talk, How Leaders Inspire, please go and do that. There's a link to it actually on the slide. And when you download the slides, all of these links are clickable. Tried to make it easy. So the why for Facebook is to make the world more open and connected. That is the why. That's why we're here. That's why we try to build products that people like to use that are delightful. That's much more interesting than either the how or the what. So if I actually advance to the what, design, engineering, content strategy, research, product management, marketing, and so on, that's the least interesting bit. But making the world open and connected is how we start with every single one of our products. We move from the why to actual product design by focusing on our values, which are focus on impact, be open and be bold, which you probably heard me talk about earlier, build social value, and of course, moving fast. I do a whole presentation about core values and content strategy, but I wanted to call them out here because your core values aren't here just to look good. They're not just here to impress your shareholders or to look good on a poster. They're not here even to inspire people. They're here because you believe in them and that every decision you make in your organization stems from them. These should have a really close link to your why in order to be effective. But I talked about posters. Let's look at some actual Facebook posters. These are things that we used to say about ourselves and about our work. Done is better than perfect. And of course, proceed and be bold, right? Fortune favors the bold. And this is probably the one people know best. Move fast and break things. The thing is, when you move fast and you break things, people get hurt and they get upset. I work on Facebook's platform, so I build content and help support the millions of developers who build products based on Facebook. And if we issue a breaking API change, their products break. That means they can't satisfy their customers. Their delightful experiences are broken as well. So we've tried to learn. We've tried to move on from this. So let me show you the kinds of things that we say now. We say nothing at Facebook is somebody else's problem. When there's an issue, when there's a problem, a fault, we all jump in. It is all of our problems, not just some group somewhere. We also say measure twice and cut once. This gets at the idea that we try to build things right the first time and not just count on the iterative cycle to eventually get things right. And the one I love best is give more than you take. Try to build experiences that give more than they take, that provide that delight without too much cost. But this is the best one of all. Slow down and fix your shit. This is a real sign. This is real. You can see it at Facebook HQ. Real sign that we put up that is the antithesis of move fast and break things. This is a reminder that when we build bad products, over 1 billion people experience them. We don't want that to happen. So we are a hacker company, and so if some people have hacked this sign to make sure that the point is driven home to us, so we're focusing on our shit, because nothing at Facebook is somebody else's problem. So double loop learning, being able to go back and question your own assumptions. Make sure that the things you do line up with the why, with your values. So, minimum viable content, if we sort of stay in this lean startup model, minimum viable content for us at Facebook has to have these 3 attributes. Has to be valuable, has to have a strong value proposition. That's how we give more than we take. Has to provide some value. That's often where the delight is. But delight can also be in ease of use. So it can't be too hard to figure out, and that's really where design and content strategy come in. And also craft. All of our technical acumen, our systems, everything must be built well. It must be built to endure, to last, and to scale for over 1 billion people around the world. So we look at the 5 planes of user experience. Did anyone recognize this model from Jesse James Garrett? 5 planes. So we have the surface, and then the skeleton, the structure, the scope, and then the strategy. And you might think that content strategy is just at the surface, but let me tell you, I got sob stories for you. There's more to it than that. Because the surface is where content is seen and used. That's where you're tapping things. That's where the action happens. But content strategists build content into the actual product itself. That's down here at the skeleton and the structure level. That's where information architecture happens. That's where interaction design happens. That's where information architecture happens. Metadata design, it's all in there. And where content is planned and proposed is all the way at the bottom in scope and strategy. Content strategy happens throughout all of these 5 planes. We actively build from the bottom up so that the topmost part presents a delightful experience. But it's a non-linear path. The way is twisted and long and dark. It's scary out there. You'll need one of these. So what gets us there, what gets us through all of that swirl are our content principles. Be simple, straightforward, and human. This guides all of our work and all of our interface content, and hopefully, if we're doing it right, makes it as invisible as possible so that we don't interrupt you, so that you can get on with whatever it is you're trying to do with what delights you most. So let's go through a little test. I'm going to show you some error messages, because error messages are the atomic unit of content strategy. All systems, all products have error messages. And so we focus a lot of time on making these better. So does this sound like us? Error 24601, neg falcon something something? Probably not. Although cheers to anyone who gets my Jean Valjean joke. How about this one? LOLs, 404, YOLO, broken heart emoji, fire emoji. And if you've never used a poo emoji in a presentation before, I highly recommend it. Mwah. It has a certain soupçon of poo, actually. And then finally, sorry, there's a temporary issue with your post. Please try again in a minute. Probably sounds a little bit more like us, right? So let's focus in on this really quick. I want to tear this error message apart. This first phrase answers the question of what happened. The second one answers the question of where did it happen. The third phrase talks about what you should do next in your experience. And the fourth answers the question of when. Great error messages are very, very hard to write because microcopy in an interface is hard to write. You don't have a lot of space. You can't go on forever. People got things to do, so you have to get meaning across to them rather quickly. So we have to answer the questions people ask, and there's hundreds of them. I've just shown 4 here. We have to answer the questions people ask when there's a problem, when something goes wrong, which really means that we're speaking to their feelings. And great error messages can do that. Great products speak to feelings. Because if we go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, feelings, love, community, belonging, self-actualization, esteem are all about feelings. We have to build this into our product. And we do it with our content principles. Always be simple, straightforward, and human. So, I want to show you 3 products that I've worked on at Facebook. I've been there for a year. We've released a ton of products. Here's 3 that I really want to call out for you. One is Saved. Saved is a new feature that allows you to take basically anything from your news feed and save it to another section that only you can see. So it's private, and it's really fast, and it's great for that moment where you see something that maybe a friend posted, and it's great, but you just don't have time to watch that video right now. So that's what Saved is for. And this is a screen from our educational tour that sort of walks you through the feature. And what I discovered by writing this is that less content is more difficult. There's just 2 sentences of copy here. And looking at it now, I wrote this almost a year ago. Even now, this looks really long to me. I would like to make these 2 sentences simpler. It's hard. Less is more difficult. Another thing about this product is that we try not to get in your way. I've talked about how great content is invisible. Great design is invisible too. So when you actually go to save something, we don't say, hey, save this awesome link for later. We don't get in your way. We actually just say save and then the name of whatever it is. So the name that was given to it by the people who built it. So if it's a link or a video, it's the name of the video and so on. So we try not to get in the way. When we get in the way, we're actually putting ourselves ahead of you, and we don't want to do that. Another thing about Saved is that we reuse a lot of patterns. So if we can see that you've saved things, we'll show them to you in your newsfeed just in case now might be a good time for you to go check them out, which is really helpful. And to do that, we use an H-scroll, horizontal scroll that you can go through to see all of your saved items. We use this pattern elsewhere in different products. And to help keep Facebook a consistent experience where you know what to expect, you understand what's happening, we reuse patterns. This is content strategy. So let's talk about another product, Login. We recently improved Login so that when you log into another app using Facebook, you can choose what information you want to share with those apps. Because we've all used these apps that end up spamming to our newsfeed or spamming our friends or sending out invites and whatnot. We wanted to put an end to that. So now you have a choice as to what information you share with apps. And this is where great content kind of gets invisible, because a lot of us wouldn't consider this sort of thing to be content. What we're doing is showing you examples of the types of things you might choose to share with an app if you want. So where it says birthday, we actually show you your birthday. Where it says your friends, we actually have names of your friends, so that you can very easily and quickly understand the kinds of things that you're choosing to share or perhaps to not share, so that you're in control. We also try to slow down the experience. Margot Bloomstein, former iSight, Margot Bloomstein, talks a lot about content strategy for slow experiences. She's got a great presentation about it. And what she says is that sometimes we have to slow people down so that they make the right decision. So what Login does is, instead of asking you all at once, hey, do you want to share all these things? Hey, do you want to let this app write to your Facebook page? Hey, do you want to do this? Hey, do you want to do that? We break apart the big decisions. So on the previous screen, you're choosing the kinds of things you might want to share. And on this screen, your only decision is about whether or not you will let this app post to Facebook for you. And you can say no. So that's great. Opt-in, choice, easy to opt out, slowing down big decisions. This is content strategy. The last product I wanted to show you is Nearby Friends. And this is a product that relies quite a bit on empathy and understanding. And it's a little complex. What Nearby Friends allows you to do is to share your approximate location at, say, the city level with other friends. So that my friends who live in Portland can see that, hey, I'm in Portland and maybe we should hang out, get off of Facebook, and go get some coffee together. Maybe we'll go to Stumptown. Maybe we'll go to Public Domain. Maybe we'll go to Barista. Maybe we'll go to the other Stumptown. Maybe we'll go to the other Stumptown. But, I'm a bit of a coffee fanatic. But here's the thing, and this is where empathy comes in. My friends can only see my approximate location if they are also sharing their approximate location with me. So there's sort of this double opt-in. Not only do I share my location, my friends share their location back so that we can both see where each other is approximately and then choose if we want to share more information and eventually go out for that cup of coffee. So empathy is hard because we had to build an experience that gets all those ideas across. This idea of control, of safety, of privacy. This product also lets you share your precise information. So when you are ready to go out for coffee with someone, you can see where they are, they can see where you are, and you can actually meet up. So we have to make it safe. We have to make it easy. We have to make it simple. So we give people ways to opt in and also to opt out if it's not right for them. And we also give people the choice to share how they want. So maybe I don't want to share my precise location with someone for the rest of my life. Maybe I only want to do it for an hour or two, right? So we can get coffee and then I can go perhaps to this conference. So we try to make that really easy and give people a lot of choice. So the outcomes are that these products with content strategy applied are all optional and opt-in. They show you value up front. They offer you very clear and simple choices so that you stay in control. And that if they're not for you, and that's perfectly okay, you don't have to use them. You can opt out. So we plan for these experiences way down in the scope and the strategy of these planes of user experience. That allowed us to build them and to build them well with value and craft and ease of use so that people can take advantage of them, so they can see the value, they can be delighted. So this is what content strategy is. This is where it happens. But the thing is, that's not good enough. And let me tell you why. Anyone remember Donahue from the 80s? Yeah? So I want to talk a little bit about why I had you stand up earlier. I said we work best when we are open and bold. So I want you to be open and bold. And let's stand up for value, ease of use, and craft. Let's stand up for slowing down and fixing our shit. And let's stand up for starting with why. We don't build things just because we build things. We build things because we are solving problems. Yeah, stand up. You were just stand up. Stand up. So let's stand up for better content. Yeah, stand up for better content. Look at all these colors. Oh my God, stand up for better content. 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 Yeah! Woo! Let's hear it for content. So, of course, we should all be standing because we use products too. We also want to be delighted. And we know what a bad experience it is when we're not. That's why we should all be standing. And that, folks, is the end. This is Build Better Content. Thank you so much. Can you get the slides here?